Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole stack of interesting sources, research articles, sometimes even personal notes, and we pull out the absolute best bits, the real nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah, basically giving you a shortcut to getting, properly informed on something.
Exactly. And today we're diving into something I think almost everyone feels at some point but maybe doesn't talk about much, that subtle kind of unsettling feeling of being lost.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always some huge crisis blowing up your life, right? Often things look okay, stable even, routine. You might even seem successful.
But inside,
yeah,
there's that disconnect, like you're stuck or just out of sync somehow. You start asking yourself, wait, is this really the right path for me?
Totally. It's that quiet internal dissonance, isn't it?
Yeah, like you're this, well-oiled machine running smoothly, but the GPS destination, it feels like it isn't really yours anymore. Maybe it never was.
So our mission today with this deep dive is to explore that feeling. We've got some great source material, and we want to pull out some practical wisdom, some fresh ways of looking at it.
Right. The goal is to help you understand those moments, navigate them, maybe even turn that feeling of confusion or being stuck into something powerful. A turning point, really, for growth, for rediscovering what you actually want.
Consider this your guide to figuring out that internal compass, maybe, without having to read a mountain of self-help books yourself.
Exactly. We've done some of that reading for you.
Okay, so let's unpack this lost feeling first, because, like you said, it's usually not about, literally being lost in the woods.
No, not usual.
Our sources really highlight how life can look perfectly fine. On the surface, you're going through the motions, maybe total autopilot, just ticking off boxes day after day. But inside, it feels like you're standing completely still, while everyone else seems to be zooming ahead with purpose.
Yeah, that comparison trap.
Definitely. And Aaron Finch, his reflections are a big part of our sources today. He has this really vivid story about it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
He talks about sitting in his car one morning, just a normal day, outside a perfectly good job, stable, respectable.
Looked great on paper, probably.
Totally. Everything looked in order, but he just had this moment, this chillingly clear question pop into his head. Is this it? Is this what the next 10 years are going to feel like?
Wow. That's heavy.
He calls it his personal wake-up call, that real gut punch moment, that internal disconnect, even when everything seems okay externally. I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh, absolutely. And that internal discomfort, that friction. Surprisingly, that's often the very first clue, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, what's really fascinating, and our sources point this out clearly, is that feeling lost, as painful as it is, it's usually not the end. It's actually a signal. Yeah, like the start of clarity.
Yeah.
It's often the necessary grit, the irritation that starts grinding away the stuff that isn't really you, revealing what's actually underneath. A bit like how a pearl forms, maybe, from irritation.
Huh. I like that analogy.
Now, Sia, another voice in our material, she puts it really well, too. She described feeling like she was in this huge, complex maze.
Okay.
Every turn just led to more confusion. And she had this constant nagging feeling that everyone else, somehow, they had the map.
Right, like they got the secret instructions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she just had, nothing, just a blank stare and this rising panic. That moment of asking, wait, hang on, what am I even doing here?
Yeah.
It often feels like standing at a crossroads.
So not a dead end.
Not a dead end, more like an invocation. A chance to pause, think, and maybe fundamentally reconsider where you're headed.
Okay, so we feel it, we recognize it's a signal, a crossroads. Why do we get there? Our source material dives into this, and it gets really interesting because it suggests it's not always one big, obvious, bad choice.
Right, it's often much sneakier than that.
Yeah, it's more about listening to too many other voices over time, your parents, teachers, friends, maybe even random people online, and their perfect-looking lives.
All those external expectations.
Exactly. And slowly, maybe without even noticing, you stop tuning in to your own voice, your own inner compass.
Mm-hmm.
The source uses this term drift. It's this slow, quiet sort of erosion of your own direction. Often it looks like you're just being sensible, playing it safe,
Or realistic, people say.
Right, realistic. So you drift towards the path that looks good on paper or seems logical or pleases other people, but deep down, it just doesn't feel right.
And it builds up, that misalignment, over years sometimes, until one day you look around and think, whoa, how did I get so far off course from me?
That insidious part, the slow drift, like you said, it's rarely that one dramatic wrong turn. It's more like a series of tiny concessions, little compromises.
Yeah, and Aaron's college story, from the material, it illustrates this perfectly. He's really honest about it. He admits he picked his major mainly because it sounded impressive.
Not because he loved it.
Nope, not because he felt any real pull towards it. So years later, sure, he had the degree, maybe people were impressed, but there was no passion there. No real sense of direction for him.
Leading to that feeling of regret. Is that what the source calls it?
Yeah, that sort of sadness or guilt for not, honoring your authentic self earlier. It really highlights how those shoulds we pick up from others. They can feel like protection at first, maybe.
Like armor.
Yeah, like armor. But eventually they just weigh you down. They push you further and further from what you genuinely desire.
Okay, but untangling those shoulds from what you actually want, that sounds really hard. Especially if the shoulds brought you some kind of success, like Aaron's degree.
It is hard. It's like peeling an onion, maybe. Layers and layers.
So this raises a big question then. How do we start checking in? How do you really know, okay, am I doing this because I want to or because I think I should?
That's a great question. And the material suggests it starts with radical self-honesty, often triggered by those moments of friction, that feeling of being lost we talked about.
Okay.
It's about pausing. Before you automatically say yes to something, maybe ask yourself, hang on, what does my gut actually say about this?
Listening to the gut feeling.
Yeah. It's not about having all the answers instantly. Not at all. It's just about creating that little bit of space to even hear that inner voice, even if it's just a whisper at first.
It's like a muscle you have to exercise.
Exactly. It gets stronger with use. And okay, so once you start tuning back in, once you recognize that signal saying, hey, you're off course, often the next thing waiting for you is uncertainty.
Yes, the scary part.
Totally.
Yeah.
We are so wired to panic when we don't know what's next. We want the plan, the map, the guarantee.
Absolutely. Uncertainty feels uncomfortable, threatening even for a lot of us. Our brains crave certainty.
They really do. But here's where our source offers this really counterintuitive idea, almost radical, really. That uncertainty, it isn't actually bad. In fact, it's framed as a gift.
A gift. Okay, explain that.
It provides space. Essential, empty, unprogrammed space. Space where you can actually explore without pressure, reflect, rediscover what genuinely matters to you, maybe for the first time in ages.
So it's not a void, it's potential.
Exactly. It's in that in-between space, that liminal space of not knowing, where the real transformative growth often happens.
Connecting this back, Aaron's story again. Leaving his stable job with no plan B, that sounds like pure uncertainty.
Oh, absolutely terrifying, he says. He talks about the fear, the knot in his stomach, sleepless nights, wrestling with the what-ifs.
I bet.
But he trusted that feeling, that discomfort. He saw it as a sign he was heading, well, in the right direction for him, even if it felt like stepping off a cliff.
So what happened in that uncertain time?
Those months that followed, without a clear next job lined up, they were actually filled with very intentional growth. He talks about reading loads, properly resting for maybe the first time, taking long walks just to think, exploring new hobbies he'd always put off.
Simple things, really.
Seemingly simple, yeah. But done in that space of uncertainty, they completely reshaped his path. It really shows where the magic happens, as they say, in that space between the old thing ending and the new thing starting.
Okay.
So the advice here is really about cultivating curiosity, just being open. Wanting to explore, wanting to learn, as the source puts it, trusting that something new, something more you is unfolding, even if you can't see the whole picture yet.
Letting the unknown create possibilities.
Precisely. Allowing that space for unexpected, maybe wonderful things to emerge.
That's a really powerful way to reframe it. Not a void to fill fast, but a fertile ground.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've accepted the uncertainty, maybe even embraced it as this fertile ground. How do you actually start plotting a new course when you feel lost?
Right, the practical steps.
Yeah, the practical stuff. And our sources offer some really actionable strategies. Refreshingly simple, actually.
Good. Simple is good.
First, it says, look inward. Forget the to-do lists for a minute. Forget what you think everyone else expects. Instead, try to identify your top, say, 3 core values.
Okay, values, like what?
Like what genuinely makes your heart feel alive? Is it family, freedom, maybe creativity, kindness, health, learning something new, contributing somehow? What are those things that are non-negotiable for you deep down?
How do you figure those out if you're feeling disconnected?
Good question. A tip from the material is to think about times you felt most energized, most yourself, or conversely, times you felt really frustrated or drained. What values were being honored or maybe violated in those moments? That can give you clues.
Ah, okay. Using past experiences as a guide.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That foundational alignment, getting clear on values, that feels crucial.
Yeah, and Nastia's experience really backs us up. She talked about how she drifted away from what made her chasing external stuff, but reconnecting with her own core values, the things that truly mattered to her. She said it shifts everything. It gave her a sense of direction, like she was moving towards something that felt right, even if the exact destination wasn't clear yet.
It's like finding true north again on that inner compass.
Exactly. But, okay, even if you get some clarity on values, starting can still feel overwhelming, right?
Mm-hmm.
We often think we need to make these huge, dramatic changes immediately.
You have the big leap pressure.
Right. But our source really emphasizes the incredible power of tiny goals. Seriously small.
Like how small?
Like maybe just writing one sentence in a journal, taking a focused 10-minute walk, tackling one tiny task you've been avoiding.
Oh, teeny tiny.
Teeny tiny. Because those little wins, they build momentum, that energy that keeps you moving forward, as the source defines it. They build confidence, bit by bit. They reinforce that you can take action, and they generate energy for the next slightly bigger step.
It's like a psychological boost.
Mm-hmm.
Small successes fuel bigger ones.
Oh.
Get that.
And while you're taking those small steps, another really vital thing the material talks about is seeking support.
Not going it alone.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It stresses how much difference just one honest conversation can make. You know, a real heart-to-heart with a trusted friend.
Yeah.
And it's not about finding someone to fix you or give you all the answers. It's just someone to listen without judgment, to just hold that space for your uncertainty and understand what you're feeling.
That validation can be huge. Just knowing you're not crazy, you're not alone in feeling this way.
So true. Sometimes just saying the confusing stuff out loud helps you hear it more clearly.
Absolutely. And while you're doing this, taking small steps, reaching out, the source says it's critical to celebrate every milestone.
Celebrate even the tiny stuff.
Especially the tiny stuff.
Yeah.
We usually only pat ourselves on the back for huge achievements, right? Landing the dream job, finishing the massive project.
Yeah.
But this urges us to acknowledge every step. Getting out of bed when it felt hard, starting that journal entry, asking for advice, taking that 10-minute walk.
Those count.
They absolutely count. They're all milestones. They're progress. And acknowledging them, even just internally, builds that self-compassion muscle, which is so important when you're navigating feeling lost. It's easy to beat yourself up.
It really is. Okay, and finally.
Finally, the material offers this really beautiful kind of transformative perspective on the inevitable detours, the mistakes, the wrong turns we all take.
Which usually feel like failures.
Exactly. We see them as failures, reasons to get down on ourselves, but they're reframed here as valuable lessons. Seriously valuable. Opportunities, actually.
Opportunities for what?
To build patience, to develop courage you didn't know you had, to gain totally new perspectives you just wouldn't have gotten if you'd stayed on the straight path. It encourages you to look back at those messy bits, those confusing times, and ask, okay, what did I find there? What unexpected skill did I pick up? What did I learn about myself, about the world?
Finding the lesson in the detour.
Yeah. There's always something there, some new lens, even if it felt like a setback at the time.
And through all of this, doing the work, taking the steps, just remember that simple power of being kind to yourself.
Self-kindness, yeah. Underrated.
Totally. Just a deep breath sometimes, a quiet moment of acknowledging, okay, this is hard, but I'm doing it. A gentle smile for yourself even. You're on your way. Just listening to this, engaging with these ideas, that's a step. That's progress.
It really is.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now, maybe navigating your own path?
I think the core message from our deep dive today is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Feeling lost, it's very rarely the end of your story. In fact, our sources strongly suggest it's almost always a really powerful turning point.
An invitation, maybe?
Yes, an urgent, necessary invitation to just pause, to reflect, to maybe shed some of those shoulds we talked about, to rediscover who you actually are underneath it all, and bravely start realigning with what truly matters to you.
It's a signal, like we said. Not the destination, it's the friction that can reshape you.
And that brings us to a final thought, something maybe for you to mull over. If feeling lost can actually be reframed as a gift, as this catalyst for real clarity, what might be the next surprising gift, hidden in whatever uncertainty you're facing right now? What's waiting there for you to uncover and explore?
What truth about yourself might be waiting to emerge from that quiet discomfort? Something to think about.